This month for the muscle up ground overhead workout, or the muscle up handstand vertical jump, we're doing a pullover muscle up. So pretty simple version. You want to work on just getting that nice dip hold, and then from there you've got to kind of be able to do that eccentric muscle up for this version. If you haven't got that yet, just work on your muscle up with the toes on the ground kind of thing, with this guy up, and just trying to get that hold there, and even an L sit there, working that. Because then what happens is after that, we're going to get that L sit, hold and come back. That comes over, trying to keep your arms as close to your body as you can, and press up, like that. So you're really trying to keep it in tight with that false grip as you go over. The more you drop, obviously, the further away from this position you're going to be. You're trying to keep the rings there as you go over with your full body weight. You want to pike and keep it as compressed as possible, so it's as light as possible. If you open your body out, it's a lot heavier, because it ends up being like a planche style push-up rather than that kind of tucked, compressed roll around, which is going to be much easier. This is still something I'm working on big time. It takes a lot of false grip strength and then arm strength to hold it in there as well. You can use a bit of momentum with it, but you just want to try and use it in a safe way. But just holding, the main thing here I find is to try and get that high enough there. That's where the spot is that it drops. And I find with the band, that's where the most amount of pressure is as well. So just trying to work on that, get a feel for it. There's a lot going on, so you're rolling backwards, so there's that kind of disorientation with that as well. So there's a lot of things you can develop before you actually go into full skill, just to develop different parts of it. And it breaks up the kind of muscle up process of just doing muscle ups every month and doing the same one. We're just adding in these different variations: forward roll, backward roll, back lever, front lever, muscle up, and in that way it turns it into something that you can use in a series of different movements as well as you develop, especially for that gymnastic strength integration workout we do here on a Saturday, but whichever day you end up doing that on, joining those things together. For the single arm snatch, obviously you need a dumbbell. You can just do double arm snatch with a barbell, or you can use a kettlebell if you know how to turn the kettlebell over. But just with the dumbbells, quite simple. So standing either side of it, coming down, keep that chest up. You want to get a height where you can keep that neutral spine. From there you kind of slow to about mid-thigh, then it pops. So you might just do that to get that feeling. Then the high pull, then the power snatch. Then you can go the snatch getting under it, and then the split snatch is where you'll step forward, step, come up. Usually in a workout we'll do like 1 to 2 each side, even up to 3 each side with that. Just but getting that 30 on for the muscle up, 30 seconds rest, 30 off in that rest, and then 30 on in the snatch, another 30-second rest, and then back to the muscle up 4 rounds for 8 minutes. So it works pretty well. They're very high skill movements, so it's not something you want to be fatigued in, and you definitely don't want to rush it. Don't force too much load in the split snatch, single arm snatch, or try too hard in the muscle up variation with the back roll. If you go back a couple of months, 3 months, you'll see the back roll with the band. That one's quite good as well, and you can progress through the band, making it less and less. This one I like because it's just easier to teach your groups, because even if you can't hold that false grip and you can just kind of go over in a back lever, you can still get a feeling of doing the movement, and it's nice in a kind of group training environment. The band too, for some people, they just kind of get wrapped up in it, and you know, kind of gives them a pinch, or they kind of find it hard or awkward. Whereas this way, you know, once your toes are on the ground, there's that spot from the ground, it's quite solid, and there's less risk of people kind of overdoing that position and falling through the rings, even with the band when it's helping them. I find some people kind of still do that. So yeah, it's up to you. Then if you don't have the dumbbell, or you're not doing a snatch and you want to work on your one-arm handstand, just working on that really straight line. It always comes back to that for me, for all the people here trying to develop the handstand, and just weight shifting slightly from side to side with a straight body, and really trying to feel how the weight transitions into that one arm. And it's not even about lifting that one off, as just as much as feeling as much load in that as possible. And when you, especially when you come back to two arms, making that more of a rest position. So we've been working a lot on just getting that, fingertips touching or just off the corner if you're on the wall, and trying to get that lower back towards the wall, and then looking between the wrists. So when you're doing that position, you're really straight, so anything off is just going to push you off the wall. And then shifting that weight, really feeling that line and trying to feel everything stacked up there. So it's all active. Obviously when you've got one arm, there's all that kind of frontal plane loading going through the spine, so you've got to stabilize a lot more. Whereas when you're on both arms, you should be able to make it more and more of a rest position once you can really get your shoulders open. And that's why so much for handstand goes into getting that nice open shoulder, so you can stack more rather than having to strain in this position where you're forcing that overhead position. But if I'm just on this pole here, so I kick up, nice and light there, lock out, looking up, and then from here shifting, feel that weight shift over, put my butt touching the wall, trying to get as much weight into the right arm. Doesn't have to be far, just trying to really stack it, keep the ribs fairly in, get that shoulder open. There's a huge jump from two hand to one arm, but just getting in that time under tension and working on good skill development. For the vertical jump, just really trying to get a nice line in that leap when you're leaving the ground and when you're absorbing the jump. So here, and absorb, you can just keep the arms up, have them sink down like that as soon as you make contact, or down to the side, but you're trying to stretch in the takeoff and then stretch for the landing, and just getting 3 explosive reps, having a bit of a rest, coming back to the muscle up. Don't go too hard in that if you're really working on a muscle up. Just kind of use that as a skill thing, just have a bit of a rest, because it is still pretty heavy. The snatch is heavy as well, so same type of thing. If you've got more time and you want more rest, because they are really high skill, heavy loaded movements, you take it. If you've got more time, we just have that 8-minute block in the classes, so we use it. And then for the extras on that day, we're working an internal external rotation with the band. So just doing that guy, where we've got that nice line there, hitting there, doing 30 seconds worth of those, turning around, 30 seconds worth of those, or it ends up being 15 seconds from the top, 15 from the bottom, and put as much tension in the band as you need, and then a squat hold for 30, or for a full minute for a double beat. In the class we just do 2 rounds of that, because it ends up being 4 minutes, so we don't want to eat into too much of the hour, but it's just a finisher after we finish that workout, add another 4 minutes to it. So get into that. If you want feedback on any of it, film it, email it, Instagram it, and just let me know so I can help you out. Keep working on it. There's always something to work on. Doesn't matter where you're at in your own development, and sometimes you get a niggle or whatever, so you have to take a step back. Or if you're a coach and you're coaching other people, you've got to be able to provide exercises for all different levels to keep it stimulating for the mind and the body, so that way you can maintain a good client base. So see you soon.